Hello, how are you? The sound of Saturday. How you guys doing? I am very well, thank you for asking. Hey Bash, how are you? Emmy, how you doing? Mike Stevens, my internet husband. Mike, I don't know. My goodness. Things could start getting rougher in our already contentious marriage. Oh boy, my goodness. Well, it has certainly been an interesting week around these parts, hasn't it? Hey, blank screen, how you doing? Blank screen. Goodness, are you ducking from any unseen process servers who may be swirling about your blank screen neighborhood? We're not going to get into that yet, but goodness gracious, I ran and checked my mailbox. I thought, well, damn, I wonder if I'm on the list. Oh, hi, Pugs. How are you? Yeah, boy, it's a gorgeous day here in Florida. It's hot as a mofo, but beautiful nonetheless. Actually, I think the humidity's down just a little bit. I think I did see that there's something out in the Atlantic. I don't know. Was it a tropical depression, maybe? I don't think it was a tropical storm. And I don't know if it's projected to give the east coast of Florida any trouble or not. But hey, Heather BBG, how you doing? Sorry, that's my foot sliding off the little shelf on the bottom of my director's chair and bashing into my credenza. Well, my goodness. Oh, is it nice in Wisconsin? Yeah. Oh, 76. Oh, that sounds heavenly. I would say we're probably getting close to 90 in Florida, but the humidity seems to be down just a tad, which is what makes me think whatever's out in the Atlantic is maybe dropping the barometric pressure. I have arthritis in my hands, And I noticed the last couple days, well, if this doesn't make me sound like a damn old woman, I don't know what else will. But it's very true. Anybody who has any kind of like arthritis or I think other autoimmune disorders as well, like lupus and whatnot, you definitely can feel, like I feel it always in my hands when something's brewing. It just makes, it makes things hurt. Oh Bash, oh well, thank you, blank screen. Well, I guess it depends on who's telling the story. I've either got one foot in the grave, or I'm a very young woman. It's all relative. Listen, you guys, it's all relative, just like, I like to say. Oh, Heather B, good Lord, girl. I hope you're not in Florida with a broken air conditioner. Let me tell you something. That could make me catch a felony if I had to be without AC in Florida. Listen, when that's happened, I can only think of one time in the past when I've gone without AC for any extended period of time. And yes, I did promptly go to a hotel. Yeah, no. This girl, you want to see somebody get like, no. I'm not gonna sweat. No. Hey Liza, how are you? Well, my goodness. As always, it's, this place is such a treat and it never disappoints. So I think we're just gonna get right on into this. I'm not gonna play any video because the people that I'm talking about, well, everybody's all up in their feels this week. It certainly seems like everybody's feeling some type of way, quite apparently. I'm happy to report that I just had a face full of Botox yesterday, and I think I am now back to my typical paralyzed, everything from here up. If I try really hard, I can make my eyebrows move, but that's not the name of the game. No, I'm like, freeze me, freeze it, just freeze it all. Facial expression is overrated, okay? As long as I can close my eyes, we're good. What? Oh, there was something on that front I was going to talk about. And I can't remember what it was. Nothing with me, but it'll come to me. What can I tell you? It's my age. Oh, God. Oh, yeah, blank screen. Oh, God. When you have to have, I think the thing outside, what's that called? Is that the condenser, or... I know I've got two of them in my house here. One runs one side of the house and runs the other, and one has been replaced. And I think we didn't do two because we thought about it, and then the guy's like, no, I don't. He didn't really have a good reason as to what happened with the first one, so it was kind of like, because I was sort of like, what do they call prophylactic measures? Like, well, it's not broken yet, but if this one just went and we're going to have to get you out here again, shouldn't we just do them both? And of course, my husband's looking at me like, no, dear, no, we're not going to do both if we don't have to. So, but I'm sure that's coming. Yeah. Oh, not cheap. Nothing with a house is cheap, unfortunately. Oh, and definitely not a roof. that was one of the last things I heard before I left Queen Bee's chat. Talk had turned to roofs, or lack thereof. Yeah, no, not me, because I have homeowners insurance. Yes, a lot. I have a lot of all kinds of insurance. When my husband was getting his doctorate, he had a professor who told him, and my husband told me that of all his educational career, which quite obvious, my husband worked full time his entire life, and he went to school at night and got a PhD. And he didn't get it at, it's not like he got his doctorate at 50. He was, well, let's see. He was in his early 30s. And my husband has worked like a mule his entire life. And one of his doctorate professors told him, and he said this is some of the best advice he has ever gotten, and he has always followed it. And that is carry as much insurance as you can possibly afford to carry. And we do. Even my car insurance is something insane, like, I want to say, with all the extras, is it called an umbrella policy? It's a few $1,000,000, because when you actually have something to lose, it just makes sense. No matter what you have, if you have anything, nobody wants to lose any assets because they're too cheap to carry insurance. Unless, of course, you're just going to come on YouTube and grift anytime you need, something paid for. I don't do that. So I'd rather just carry insurance coverage. But yeah, hey, Nick, how you doing? He has always followed that motto, and I can tell you this. I have a family member who had a car accident. It was not their car, and they were not driving. They were a passenger. Do you know my car insurance paid them a 5-figure settlement? Because now this was an accident it was a fatal accident. Obviously not to my family member, but because that family member had resided in my house within the last year, when the attorney came to talk to them, he said, "Oh, well, would you mind letting me see your insurance card?" He said, who's your carrier? Geico. Do you know if you have blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. You want to see my card? Yes, that'd be great. And I gave him my card and my policy documents because, my husband's very meticulous about things like that. And it was in the car, and he handed a contract over and said, yes, if you would like for me to represent you, I am quite certain that I can get a settlement from my insurance. And I'm like, hold on a minute. You do understand, right, that this family member was not driving the car, was not in a car that I owned. Yeah, no, I know that. And I'll be damned if he did not get a payout, and a greater payout than anyone else in the accident, if you can believe that. Swear to God. And it's because of some kind of coverage. And the fact that just by residing in my house. Which, there you go. That's why people's premiums are insanely high, because insurance companies do stupid shit like that. Now, of course, I'm glad, because this was my family member who benefited from it, and we've never filed a claim ever. So there you have it. I still to this day like have a hard time reconciling that, but I was like, whatever. We've paid all these premiums, somebody may as well get something out of it. So, okay. You guys, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to talk about 5 things, and we're not going to be here forever. And I didn't take notes. I've got it up here. As much as my old ass brain can remember. And I think if I was going to name this episode, it would be Duplicitous Dirtbags. I mean, I don't know if anybody had a chance to see the video I did this afternoon. That's a little further down on my, hold that thought. I'm going to go in order here. Something really quick. I would imagine by now that most of you have seen the fantastic video that Menace to Sobriety did. I think he dropped that video, was it maybe Monday at the beginning of the week, about the Idaho 4 case. But it was kind of like what he sees as the impending fate of the tragedy pimp channels. And oh boy, I hope he's right. Menace's thoughts on all these channels. Drunken Turkey was one that was heavily featured by ABC News in a mainstream media piece. I have heard of that channel. I have never watched. I never will. And to hear that one of those people is former law enforcement, wow. But Menace's thoughts were that eventually what's going to happen, kind of like all scenarios in life, whether you're in school and, there was always that one asshole kid in the class who just could never follow the rules and effed it up for the whole rest of the class. Well, Menace is kind of taking that view that because of the unscrupulous tragedy pimps of every size, shape, and I don't just mean the fat ones like the Drunken Turkeys, at least 2. I'm not sure if all 3 are wildly overweight or just 2 of them. To the one I scribbled a note down about, because I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I love irony. And the irony of a dick bag named Harsh Reality. Who needs a bit of harsh reality? So here it is, sweetie. You may be sitting with your somewhat overweight self in your fabulous studio across the pond, wearing your icon hat. Dude, harsh reality for you. You're not an icon. You're not cute enough to be an icon. And, I've heard some of your other videos. Dude, don't they have any crime in England that you can exploit for money? Like, why are you always over on this side of the pond worrying about our, I don't know shit about European jurisprudence, whether it's the UK, whether it's Well, I think the UK encompasses like Great Britain. Is Ireland is still considered part of the UK, right? I've seen the Glare talk about harsh reality. He does a fantastic imitation. And, you know, just because you say everything with a lovely accent, you're like, that's the only thing lovely about you. And oh God, I just get so sick and tired of seeing these pompous douchebags, like harsh reality, sitting around opining on, you know, his theories on, dude, could you point Idaho out on a map even? I don't know. And full disclosure, I couldn't point out on a map where you live, but I'm not sitting up here trying to tell you about crimes going on in your neck of the woods. I mean, I guess in and of itself, there's nothing wrong with people from across the pond commentating on, you know, American criminal justice. But dude, you ought to get yourself a hat that says D-bag. Because if you think that the Sinaloa cartel or the Cali cartel, whatever cartels are around these days, if you think that the cartel is responsible for that tragedy that you and all your tragedy pimping counterparts are grifting money off of, like, you're dumber than I think you are. I mean, it must suck to just have to say and do anything to make a buck. And for anybody who thinks I'm a bitch, well, maybe I am. But this bitch, I don't come to YouTube with my hand out to pay my car payment, my mortgage, to buy these lovely shoes. Yeah, no, I don't do any of that. And I most especially do not exploit people who are already going through the worst times in their life. Can you imagine what it must feel like to listen to every Tom, Dick, and douchebag everywhere across the intelligence spectrum? But let's face it, most are median to south end of the scale, opining on things that they do not have any legit ability to know about. None of us are privy to any of the evidence. None of these people have anything more than me and you have. You know, whatever Google tells you. I mean, and I get it. Everybody likes to discuss these cases. Although for myself, honestly, for the first time in my life, this is the least amount of interest I've had in any true crime cases since I was in middle school. And I'm telling you why. It's not, and honestly, quite unfortunately, the cases just get more outrageous as the years go by, because, you know, technology and the way that information and disinformation can be disseminated so quickly all across the world. thanks to the internet and social media. But it honestly, it's just gross. It's, and especially these bigger cases, what comes with them, and the unscrupulous, gross people. So I hope, I mean, I hate to say I hope, because like all things where it's always a handful of really egregious bad actors, we'll just say, who ruin it for everyone else, whether it's your middle school class or your high school class, or if it's legit true crime creators who deal in nothing but fact, not outrageous conspiracy theories and wild, uneducated, baseless speculation. I mean, dude, do you have a Ouija board? Because you should. If you don't have one, you might want to invest in one. And then you could buy yourself a better trucker hat with a more, truth in messaging, let's just say, icon. Like, dude, I don't wear a fucking hat that says icon. And I can assure you I look a lot more like an icon than you do. I mean, the fucking hubris on these people is just, it's just gross. It's getting harder and harder to, well, never mind. I'm just going to leave that one there. But Menace's thought was that what YouTube's eventually going to do, which will punish the good ones, like always happens, eventually he feels that the entire genre of true crime will be demonetized, because it's probably an easier process for YouTube to just do away with all of it, or the monetization. And once that goes, well, my goodness, how many people do you think will be left? I'd say we could fit them in both my hands. That's how many will be left. Well, and we can probably figure out who won't be here once that happens. So I hate to see it for all the other. It doesn't apply to me because I don't even talk about true crime. You know why? Because nobody wants to hear it. Very few people want to hear someone just talk straight facts without all the outrageous speculation, theories, etc. And it's, unfortunately, that's just the case. And for me, it's not a big deal, because I haven't put blood, sweat, tears, and countless hours into my channel. But I definitely feel for those who have, and who've spent, years. Hey, Mama Bear, how you doing? Cultivating an audience by nothing more than, because I promise you guys, it is so much easier to jump on the tragedy pimpin' train than it is to, just the facts, ma'am, because there's so many more of them. And I mean it when I say nobody wants to listen to me sit up here and just give you the facts, only the facts. And don't read anything more into that than what it is. And whether you think that's more of a reflection on them than me, or vice versa, who cares? Whatever it is, it is. And, most people do not. What's the purpose of putting out a product or a service that people don't want. At least from me, they don't want that. And I'm sure it's not just me. So it'll be a shame for people who've worked really hard to be really respectful, professional, etc. And I don't know, I mean, but I tend to agree with Menace. And if you have not watched his video, I think it is the latest one. I should have pulled it up. If you haven't watched it, I highly encourage you to watch it because it's about 18 minutes and I think it's very spot on. And this Drunken Turkey interview on ABC News, yeah, I mean, it didn't exactly make that sector of YouTube look like, I mean, they were discussing, the most egregious part of it was apparently the drunken turkeys insinuated or threw out one of their wildly conspiratorial theories that a Purple Heart recipient, I believe he was a Marine, if I'm not mistaken, who is now deceased, well, his reputation was besmirched because they insinuated that he could have had something to do with it. That is foul. That is foul and disgusting. And I don't know if it's actionable or possible, but if it is, if that was my family member that was dead and some overweight ass clowns from YouTube besmirched their reputation with some baseless ass wild theory, oh, I can promise you I would pursue that. And like I said, I have no idea. I don't listen to them. I never will listen to them. That might be the one pleasant side effect of that story, is that people who kind of like me have heard the name thrown around, who maybe would have eventually gotten around to checking them out. If you're like me, now you're like, oh no, hard pass, thanks. There's enough assholes in the world. If I want to, I've already got an overload of that in my content list. Yeah, I'm not going to be adding to that anytime soon. Thanks, but no. I don't know. It just, to me, I just find these people so offensive. I do. And I don't know. I don't want to have to, I don't want to put my head on the pillow at night and count my shekels that I made from wildly speculating and denigrating someone's reputation who, not for nothing, isn't around to defend himself, which makes it even more vile. So, but it also, it's not just the fault of the creators, because they're making what people want to consume. And kind of like I just told you, nobody wants to listen. There doesn't seem to be much of a market anymore for just strictly fact-based true crime content. I mean, the ones who are already here and have already made it, God bless them. But It's not going to be easy for anybody coming up, you know, trying to come up through the ranks and follow in those footsteps. It's really not, because what people want is the shit show. That's what they want. So it's that kind of catch-22. What are you going to do? You're going to work your ass off to put out a product that people don't want from you? That's kind of a waste of time. I mean, I guess it just all depends on what your motivations are and what you need to get out of it. Fortunately, I don't need to get jack shit out of any of this. So maybe I have less of an excuse for not doing it because I am in that position. I don't know. But come on, I'm human. And most people aren't into working hard to no avail, or to very, very slow avail. No, Emmy, you're right. But Emmy, your channel is, I mean, your channel has grown a lot. I mean, how long have you been here? I think you're, you know, and you're kind of in a sweet spot. See, because I can't do what you do. I cannot come on here and talk about people like Betty like you can. I just can't. I'm not, my personality doesn't allow for that. And that's not a condemnation of you or me or anything like that. It's not my personality. But you can do it. And so you're kind of in a sweet spot. There's not a lot of people, girl, there's not a lot of people that can talk about her like like you're able to do. Oh, Heather B. Beachy, honest to God, I've said this so many times and I swear to you, I mean it. If I were pursuing a graduate degree and it was going to be in any aspect of human behavior or psychology or true crime, oh my God, I would absolutely come to this platform and I would immerse myself in different aspects of everything from straight up true crime to trauma to Tragedy Pimps Inc. I would do it all. And I just think, I mean, it's bound to happen. And I think it would be fascinating to see a professional's perspective on every aspect of what social media has done to the true crime genre. So, okay, so I really just wanted to give harsh reality some harsh reality. Dude, you're a dick bag. Sit down. Okay. Oh boy. Now to our next controversial subject. Well, let's see. We had what should we call this? Well, I'm sure different people call it different things. Some people will call it the white flag of peace was waved. Some will call it Truce Gate. I just call it a whole load of contrived bullshit. That's what I call it. Yes, I'm speaking about Laura, Perplexed QT, and her Well, I would say that she extended the olive branch, but that's not really how that went down. She would probably say she extended an olive branch, which she then promptly, whittled to a sharp point to then like throw like a spear, a flaming spear to, I'm sure like the target was either, mid headline or maybe between the shoulder blades somewhere. Yeah. Hey, Stereophonics, how you doing? Well, Liza, I mean, honestly, I don't watch any of it anymore. The news. Listen, I mean, very little news anymore. News has become almost like an a la carte menu. I mean, listen, I come from a time when we had ABC, CBS, and NBC, and then you had like 1 to 2 local affiliates. I can remember when the flag and the national anthem would play at a certain hour when the networks went dark. Nowadays, you had 3 sources to get news from, and journalism was journalism, and it was fact based. Nowadays, we've got like a la carte journalism. Are you a far left leaning liberal? We've got CNN for you. Are you a far right leaning conservative? Well, some would say that's Fox News, and some would say no, that's whatever that station is that Trump started. Is that even still a thing? You know what I'm saying? There's a home for, and they tailor their stories, all their stories, to the audience. It's just not like it used to be. So is there really anything that is strictly fact-based? Well, yes, but fact-based with the contingency or the caveat that, not the contingency, the caveat that, yeah, fact-based, but facts that are geared towards a left-leaning audience or a right-leaning audience. You get it. So anyway, so Laura made a video called something like Truce, and it was directed to what is Alicia? Oh, In Bloom Media, Queen Bee, oh God, who was Makeup Mobster, and I think there was one more that I'm not remembering. And Laura made a very dramatic video about how, things have really just gotten out of hand, and she wants to call a truce because she has some weirdo stalker-ish, and I'm taking her word at that. And really, I'm not even really taking her word at it. I'm taking the word of other people who I listen to that are verifying that. And Laura is someone who YouTube is her business. Okay. This is how she makes a living, that and her candle business. I know nothing about her candles. I have only in the last, since that happened, ever even gone to her channel. It's always been things on the clips I've seen. She's just not for me, but that's okay. she doesn't have to be. And I said that in the beginning, mainly because I can't stand the sound of her voice. I hate the way she talks, but I would never hold that fact alone against someone. It's what she's saying with that voice that I also don't care for. But, and, you know, hey, all I can say is God bless you, girl. I would need to be on tranquilizers if this dump was how I made a living, how I ate, how I fed my kids, how I, you know, paid my mortgage, my car payment, whatever the case may be. Like, ew. I think it absolutely takes a very specific kind of person to be able to not only take all the you know, shots fired that come your way, but you have to also constantly be keeping people coming back for more. And everybody does that in a different way. And clearly her way is high dramatics. She's, well, that, let's just leave it right there for now with how people go about, you know, earning a living on here. So she apparently has this, I'll just say she's a stalker kind of. Well, I'm sure she's not a sub anymore. I think she was a mod at one time, but there was a parting of the ways and bad feelings. And so Laura puts out this video and she wants a truce because this creator, who I'm not going to say her name because why would I? If you want to know who it is, go to Laura's channel. You can find out. Because apparently now Laura will tell you it's been, I think she said either 2 or 3 years of daily harassment. I don't know about that, but what I do know is Laura is not a shrinking violet. This is Laura of, she told all of YouTube, see, I see Laura, I was originally going to make a video and I was going to call it, or, you know, a title of a live, and I was going to call it a Betty by any other name is just a perplexed QT, because I see them as the same person. Laura has much better hair than Betty, but that's not the only distinction. But I see them as using the same types of tactics with people who want to pose the counterpoint or call out what they see as obvious bullshit or fuckery. Laura will be the first one to basically tell you, don't fuck with me. I'll go lower than you could ever imagine. I will do shit you won't do, etc. Wow. Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. And Betty does the same thing. And depending on what day it is, hey SoFlo, how you doing? Depending on what day it is, well, Betty might be more or less out on Front Street about it than Laura is. I mean, I don't, And I take her at her word, both of them. And I'm sorry, Laura, you may think that that's something to be real proud of. Like, I guess that's probably clout for you or street cred. I don't think it is. I would not want anybody to think or accuse me of being basically the same person as Betty, just with better hair. I mean, I can only take you at your word. And to me, when you want to, and I'm sure Laura, would say that, well, when people are lying about me, I mean, Laura, you are one of the most aggressive. Oh God, I mean, you're foul-mouthed. I think you got Betty beat in that department. You're like hyper aggressive. You seem to be somebody who's like always looking for a fight. And maybe that's how she built her channel. I know that she has been here a long time and was in what they call the OG drama community. Now, I'm going to say right here and now, there's nobody on here that I would not do a verbal back and forth with. Live, one-on-one, mano a mano. But would I find out where your children go to school so I could call their school? Would I find out where you or your spouse or your mom works? Would I call your insurance company, etc.? I have never gone real life on anybody. I don't need to. So I don't know, like that part I don't get. And of course, Laura will tell you she's never doxed anybody. You are, girl, come on. Are you kidding me right now? So all these nasty stories that are out here floating around, they're all lying. And anytime someone speaks in absolutes like Laura does, I mean, I heard her go so far as to say that in this, I don't know if it was in the Truce video or if it was in her vitriolic response when everybody didn't take her Truce. In Blue Media apparently did agree that she would not speak about Laura on her channel, but I got the impression based on what I heard that was more because she was taking away she didn't want to fuel the stalker woman, who I'm not going to name. Hey, Okie Crime News, how you doing? And interestingly enough, speaking of in Blue Media, well, my goodness, there was a woman who came up on panel a couple nights ago. Woo, Laura was there. And this woman, holy shit. She had some words for Laura. And Laura was rendered mute. I don't think I've ever heard her not have some pit bull response. So that was interesting. And when this all happened, I was actually on Queen Bee's panel. And Queen Bee gave, thank you, Okie. Queen Bee gave her reasoning why I got nothing to do with that shit. What are you bringing me into this for? And I actually now have heard the story as to why I didn't even realize until pretty recently that Laura used to hang out over there at the Hive. And then during this live, I said, well, like, I've heard bits and pieces of the story, but I don't even know, like, why. I think what I was saying is, well, I know that it's a lot of fun over here. And I'm sure she does feel some type of way about not being able to come over there. So I found out why that parting of the ways happened. Yeah, Laura seems to be like somebody who, if she thinks that she can intimidate you and bully you and talk over you, mainly the intimidation, a la, I'll go lower than you can even imagine. Like, Laura, I don't know. I guess you don't care how that makes you look as a woman. Like, it's icky. I can't imagine saying that to anyone. As much shit as I have said to Betty, I have never said anything like that to Betty or to anyone. Like, I'm not a dude. And I'm not violent. I don't try and... Another way I see Laura and Betty kind of being the same person, they both seem to have massive control issues. They both want to exert their will over people. And if you happen to be someone, people like them, they very much, it would be my opinion that they try and get a read on someone. And if they think they can bend you to their will or intimidate you intimidate you into stopping something they don't like, whether it's actions or words, they will. And yeah, if that makes you feel like, I don't know what it makes you feel like, because I don't have to do that, so I don't know. I don't understand. Well, I won't say I don't understand it, because I think I do understand it, as far as I understand what I think drives people to do that, and it's usually what appears on the face to be hubris and narcissism. There is obviously some of that, but I think if you go deeper down a layer, it's wild insecurity and inadequacy. And I mean, think about it. It's kind of like criminals. Well, the best ones hide in plain sight. So people who feel inadequate, inferior, etc. Well, the best way to mask that is acting like you're, Bobby Badass. Hey, Clancy, how are you? So, but I mean, it ain't all that deep. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze these people, because I don't know them. I don't want to know them. But so Laura makes the video. One other thing I want to say. I 100% fully acknowledge and admit that most of these people go back several years. They've all been, outlaws, in-laws. You know what I'm saying? Like, they've been BFFs. They've been on opposite sides. Some of them are back being friends. I fully acknowledge that the backstories and the tentacles run wide and deep. And I don't know all of it. And I don't need to know all of it. So apparently we're just going to call her the stalker lady. I was on Queen Bee's panel. I had already heard the Truce video that Queen Bee was speaking on. And I said at that time that, and I had listened to it that day. I did not listen to all of it, but I listened to the pertinent parts. what I called the good part. And I said, and I'm going to say again, that, and I've even gone back and listened to it again. I said, I did not want the fact that I don't care for Laura to cloud me and my feelings as to whether or not I thought it was a legit, credible threat. And I did make a crack on Queen Bee's when she was playing it, and she said, well, I hope I didn't, I'm going to start it here, something to the effect of, we're going to start it here and we're just going to listen for a few minutes. And at some point I said, oh, well, don't blink or you'll miss it. And see, I do actually self-reflect all the time. And I got off of there. And of course, this, you know, this goes on for a few more days, more controversy around it. Subsequent videos are made, including the one where Laura was basically like, okay, well, you don't take my Truce, fuck you. But I did go back and I listened again, because I thought, oh God, you know, I hope that I didn't come off sounding like what I was worrying I could have come off like, which is, oh, well, you know, you don't like her, so you don't care. And that is not true. I would not support anyone making anyone else feel afraid. But Laura, are you really going to sit here and act like you have not done? Now, you might not have done a threat like that woman did, but if you don't think that you try and throw your weight around, you very much do. I would say you actually get off on it. And you're nobody to me, so I don't need to talk about you. It's not like I'm not paying my bills this way, okay? I don't care if this channel has 13 people or 13,000 people. You're going to get the exact same show from me, either or, because I am 100% Lisa when I come on here. If anything, I hold myself back. There's a lot of things I don't say that I would like to say. Oh, and I'm thinking of, but when you're part of polite society, that's what you do. You don't just run around saying everything that rolls between these two things. Just because it travels between these pathways doesn't mean it needs to come out the exit of your mouth. So there's, believe it or not, there's a whole hell of a lot of stuff I don't say. Or I say things in I try to say things in a more diplomatic way than I would if I really didn't care at all about, and it's not about any of you, it's about me. I care about how I come across. So I went back and I listened again, and I still maintain, I still stand behind what I said. And this is how I summed it up, my feelings on it, and I'm going to say it again. And how I feel. I made the crack to Queen Bee where I said, well, don't blink or you'll miss it. And I still maintain that. Now, I'm coming at that from, I haven't been around for years to listen to this woman. But I have a feeling, just based on the little bit I've seen from you, that you give every bit as good as you get. Because if you will say the things I have heard you very proudly acknowledge out loud, well, my goodness, I'm pretty sure, it's probably a much more colorful list that you don't talk about, like the things that you don't say out loud that you'll do. So with that being said, this is my position on it. I will go ahead and say that after listening to people who I like, and I respect their opinions on things, because I've listened to them, and these aren't even people that I've ever had any kind of dialogue with at all. But I've been listening to them long enough on a variety of different subjects at different occasions. Things from funny things to very contentious things and everything in between. And at least a few of these people seem to be very even-keeled. They're not prone to yelling and screaming and acting the damn fool. So when they have been around for years and they know the history behind this, I am willing to say that even though what I heard definitely sounded like a veiled threat, in my opinion, more, I would call it more of probably the rantings of a, somewhat ill person. But I don't, like I said, I don't know. So I will, when I hear people who do know, and that I do respect their perspective on things, any variety of things, I will take because they know more than me. You see, and I can do that. I don't have to be right all the time. I don't have to know everything all the time. Not at all. And I will always try and defer to someone who has more knowledge than me on a certain subject, because I am secure. I don't need to impose my will over you or anybody else. I don't have to be right all the time. I don't know everything. So I will go ahead and go with, it was very much a threat. I still say that I believe it's an empty threat. I don't think there's a chance in any that it'll be carried out on. But just like I said the other day, and some of that is very much due to Laura and the way she responded to it and the way she chose to make content out of this whole thing. Because listen up, okay? Hear me loud and clear. As someone who had a real life stalker, and I'm talking kind of like Laura says, I'll do shit you can't imagine. This person, well, they did some things that I promise you couldn't even conjure. And you know what I did? I moved. I actually considered let's just say, think of maybe a movies you might have seen where people have had to go to very drastic lengths because they had a stalker. I know what I wouldn't have done. And yes, I am speaking as someone with experience. And it wasn't just someone on the internet. Now, this was someone who was coming to my home. Like I said, I had to move. It's been decades, and it's much less than it used to be, but it still occasionally crosses my mind, especially if I'm home alone in the evening. Of course, I'm well protected with a security system and all kinds of other things that, law-abiding people are allowed to have. So I can only draw on my own experience. So, but I will go ahead and say that, okay, it was definitely a threat, and I will say that just what I said the other day, and I mean it. I will absolutely support anything and wouldn't question, because it's not for me to question. So I will fully support and fully acknowledge I have no right to question. However, Laura chooses to deal with the situation to keep herself safe. And I mean, truly, I can't sit back and say that, well, based on what happened to me, she should be doing X, Y, and Z. But I certainly do use my personal experience when coming up with, whether I personally think, how much is she truly afraid, or, I have no doubt she's very angry. But, we all do things differently. I know just for me personally, I would never, ever, ever have any of my family associated with anything in this dumpster fire. No way, no how. You have never seen my family. You're never going to. Not by my choice. Just because there are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs in this place. So I fully support whatever Laura's got to do to make herself comfortable. So, but what you don't get to do is you don't get to dictate how other people who have nothing to do with the situation. I mean, Queen Bee said she has no idea who that woman is. She's got nothing to do with it, never heard of her, etc. Oh, Zen. Well, I can point you in the direction of a few videos should you want to catch up. So, but here's, Laura, I guess all I would say in conclusion with this is you are one of the most aggressive, angry. It's like, I mean, that's how you come off to me. And there's just something lost for people like me when just not even, I don't think, a week prior, you said that, and this is pretty close, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but quote, oh, yeah, TPE, Trashing Pimps Exposed, yep, I know somebody paying big bucks for pictures and information. That is shitty. It's a strong arm tactic, which puts you in league with Betty. And truthfully, I don't know, has Betty even done that? She might have, and I just either am not remembering it because she does so much shit. But that's what I mean when I say a Betty by any other name is a perplexed QT. You guys are the same person to me, anyway, just with you have better hair. And only very slightly better social skills. But I don't even know. Like, Laura strikes me as the person that, like, who ends up with a video on TMZ for, I don't know, like she goes to buy something or is in a drive-through maybe, and somebody gets her order wrong or somebody makes a remark that she doesn't like. Like, I can see her being that one who would grab somebody up by the shirt and say, what the fuck did you say? I'll fuck you up. I mean, that's just who she seems to be to me. I mean, to each their own. I guess if that's how you want to be viewed as a female, well, I guess the world needs, angry bitches too. I don't want to be. But it kind of loses something when you've used all these strong arm and, very inflammatory, aggressive tactics when speaking to people who have made you angry for whatever reason. So you can't get your panties all in a bunch when your bad behavior is then pointed out to you when you cry, oh, poor me, get the vapors, somebody's being mean to me. I mean, my goodness. I mean, you truly, I'm actually sitting here thinking of some of the things just in the last few days I have heard her say to people that have come into her chats. Fuck you. If you don't, what the fuck is wrong with you? Are you too fucking stupid? Get the fuck out of here. You're blocked. Wow. Wow. It's like, so you can't have it both ways. Pick a lane. I guess that's all I'm saying. But this, I heard B. Tim say something that I very much agree with. Apparently, hey, Chronicles of the Shady, how you doing? Somebody tell me that if I heard this right. I'm fairly certain I did. I swear to you, I heard B. Tim say that Laura said, if you want to see her get M'd, just keep making videos. What? In reference to this tropic. Sorry, I wasn't. Caught myself. In reference to the stalker lady. And I'm not giving that lady a pass. It was a veiled threat. And lady, what you sound like you need to keep it moving. Just write it off, okay? If she angers you, just find somebody else. There's so many people on YouTube. Out of sight, out of mind. Just move on. If someone is making you that angry that you are issuing veiled threats, poorly veiled threats about a third party And Carter, how you doing? If you're making poorly veiled threats about a third party who's going to travel to a YouTuber's house with, we'll just say, some knowledge they procured through some, I believe the language was training courses that could do bodily harm, well, ma'am, you might want to consider therapy or medication, or I don't know, just get the fuck off of YouTube. What the hell's wrong with you people? My God. It's like, I don't get it. What is it with this place? It's like the mentally ill moths to the ring light. Like, oh, here they come. I mean, I don't want to see anybody be subjected to any of that kind of stuff. But this, to me, is a situation where they are both contributing. And Laura, you can sit back and say whatever you want. You are, just by responding to the woman once, you're contributing. Because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to give you the exact opposite advice that someone else gave you. And somebody will give you the opposite advice I give you. And I'm sure you don't give a shit about any of it because you won't be able to help yourself. It seems to be based on just what I've seen, it seems to be your personality type. You very much thrive in chaos. You seem to be perfectly suited for the drama community, let's just say. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself. I mean, we all like it to some degree, but so here's my advice. Much like I would imagine it would work on you. Here would be my advice. Anybody who's even remotely got a little bit of, mental fitness to whatever degree, out of sight, out of mind. And at some point, if you do not give someone what they are craving, and if this woman has made all these videos for 2 or 3 years about you, of course, she's going to sit here and tell you that I've never responded, or, I've only responded a few times. Oh, I don't believe that at all. But be that as it may, I don't know, maybe, clean slate. I'd be willing to bet if you never said this woman's name again and you did not give her what she is craving, because Laura, what she wants is your attention and you're giving it to her. And just because I say she wants your attention, well, that doesn't mean that some people are happy with any kind of attention. Clearly, we've got millions of people with YouTube channels who are not smart, they're not attractive, and there's, at least from where I sit, a lot of these people are bringing this much to the table. So, for what this woman very much wants your attention, and she'll take it in any form, whether it's you saying, "Oh, person, oh, you're so smart, and you're so kind, and oh, you're just a great person." Or she's satisfied with, "Fuck you, you crazy bitch, quit talking shit about me." Yeah, or something in the middle, or all of the above. If you just, supply demand. At some point, if they are not getting the supply from you that they are demanding, they'll go find it elsewhere. So just quit giving her what she wants, because it sounds like whatever you've been doing hasn't been working. But, you know, I don't think that you need to be bringing all these other people into it, especially people who don't even know who this woman is. So pardon the rest of us if, you know, the cynics and the skeptics among us who think that this is just drama for drama's sake. And, you know, just a piece of grown woman advice. You know, if you truly want to make amends with someone, whether it's all your fault, partially your fault, hell, none of your fault. How many times in my life I have apologized when I didn't think I did anything wrong and I didn't need to? Oh, I can assure you, many. Because sometimes it doesn't mean shit to me. I just want the situation to be done, keep it moving. I want peace in my life. Like, you don't always have to be right. I mean, you can be right or you can have peace and calm. I mean, everybody wants something different. You do you. But if you really want to, if you want something from someone, whether it's to get on board the truce train, the midnight truce train to Georgia, or, you know, whatever the case may be, well, you got to give a little. And sometimes, you know, a good deal is usually characterized where both parties walk away a little bit unhappy. So I don't know, maybe if you really want allies in your truce war, well, a good place to start would, you know, if that's truly your objective and you are really sorry about something, well, I mean, just speaking as a grown person, I know I would very much appreciate much more someone who acted like a grown-ass adult and came to me behind the scenes in private, at least try and start that way, you know, just to maybe build a dialogue, rather than put me on blast in front of all of YouTube with a situation that I have no idea what the fuck it's about, which you will probably then try and spin it all around like, well, look what a bitch, look, they're so mean, they want me to be M'd because they wouldn't sign the YouTube peace accord. Oh my God, holy shit. Okay, so that's just, you know, that's just my dumbass perspective. You know, I got a little tiny channel. I'm not world famous YouTuber like you and Betty. I don't need to be. But I'm also a pretty happy person with, you know, a husband and a real life. YouTube's not my life. Yeah, I would. Like I said earlier, I think I need medication, which I don't do that either. But I think I would require medication if I had to like live in this space of like Gladiator. It's like a cross between the Hunger Games, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. What's that classic novel? Oh, Lord of the Flies. Yeah, Lord of the Flies. Hell, Lord of the Rings for that matter. Lord of the Flies, Mad Max, Hunger Games. A little bit of gladiator fighting in there. Yeah. I think it takes a very certain type of personality. And I mean, congratulations. You've had a very long storied career here in the, what do they call them? The OG drama community. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to think there might be like some common denominators amongst those who thrive in this arena. And I think one that I've noticed quite a bit is I don't think most of them are married. I mean, I could be way off about that, but it just seems like the ones that I hear about all the time are not married people. I don't know. Maybe you should like count yourself as very fortunate because my goodness, if the shit that happens on YouTube here is enough to get you like Linda Blair exorcist, like your head spinning around, then congratulations, because you don't have enough real world problems if you can get this like upset about this place. Okay, so that's that. What are we doing on time here? About an hour and a half. Okay. I've got a couple more things written down. So guess what? I'm going to let you guys. Let me see here. All right, wait. This I definitely want to speak on. So what is this? The video that I made earlier. Well, thank you, Stereophonics. I was just being facetious, but I thank you all the same. The video I made today. My goodness. Oh, true crime time. I know, right? Woo. My husband does hear them because he'll come out into the kitchen and I'll be on the couch and I'll be like, oh my God, you want to hear what? He's like, no, honey. Remember the deal? When you started that YouTube channel, one of the many like blessings that came from that is I don't have to hear the stories about these assholes anymore. And I'm like, oh yes, honey, you're right. I'm sorry. And then I proceed to tell him. Okay, so the video I did today about a wretched bitch, Black Queen. I had never heard this woman's name until yesterday, and I wish I never had. And I was listening to In Bloom Media, Alicia, and she played 2 or 3 videos from this bitch. And I truly, you know, it's bad because I went back, I went forth, I went back, I went forth because I thought, you know what? This is so egregious and disgusting and foul. And I cannot believe that I've never known 2 women or 1 woman to speak to another woman like that. I don't have anybody in my life that would, man or woman, that would speak to anyone in that manner. It was absolutely foul. Just hateful, vile. And I thought, see, and this is who I am. And it's been a blessing and it's been a curse. Because I'm that person who, I don't know Gina Diamond. I truly do not. I have had 2 chats with her. And when I say 2 chats, I mean 1 chat, response, chat, response. That's what I mean. 2 from me, 2 from her to me. I don't know her. I remember when, I'm sorry, you guys, my My phone is off, but my watch just keeps on dinging. I heard all this, and I have always been a person who, when I feel that someone's conduct is so outrageous that it is, well, hey, Gina. And Gina will attest. I don't know Gina, okay? But Gina is a human being. And what that nasty bitch said about her, and here's where I went back and forth. Not at all on how I felt about it, not for 1 second. But the blowback that I'm sure is going to come for me because of it. Because I'm sorry, Laura, I think I need to apologize to you when I said that you were one of the most hyper aggressive. Oh no, girl, sorry, I got to walk that back. I forgot we were talking about this one. What is wrong with you? And listen, y'all, I did. I said, I'm going to make a video. 2, nope, it's not my fight. And I thought, you know what? Fuck these people. Enough of this. I don't care what venue you're in, whether it's your real life, we are all governed by minimum standards of acceptable behavior. And in the real world, we call them laws. And the people who can't abide by them, well, they go to jail. Now, we know this woman hasn't been to jail because she quite proudly, that was part of her flex. That's a new one, okay? I've never heard somebody think it's a flex to tell you that they don't have any felonies on their rap sheet. And I was like, holy shit, are we serious right now? Okay. I mean, in my neck of the woods, that just goes without saying, but I get it. Shit happens. People make mistakes. It's not about, but listen, the way she spoke to Gina Diamond was dehumanizing. And no one should stand for that. Nobody. If you are a decent person, it's not acceptable to speak to anyone in that manner. I've never made any secret about my vehement dislike for Bullhorn Betty and company. I would never speak to Bullhorn Betty in that manner. I wouldn't talk to JLR in that manner. And congratulations. I'm not even calling her that because I'm sorry, girl. If you think you're a queen of what? I mean, I was just floored that someone would actually memorialize that and put it out to the world for consumption. Now, obviously, she's got a very small channel, and hopefully not a lot of people will see it. But the same could be said of mine. It's not about that. It's about right and it's about wrong. And congratulations, ma'am, BQ. You have won the recycled aluminum can trophy that was previously held by Dolly Vision for first place in the category of most dehumanizing, maniacal, rabid rant at someone. I mean, like, where does that kind of hatred come from? And gosh, if you truly don't have any felonies, give it time. That's what I would say. Because if that is how you conduct yourself, and you think that is some kind of like clout or some street cred, acting like that, I mean, I beg to differ. And I also recognize that there are going to be people that are going to see that video and they're going to take it the wrong way. And, you know, I guess the case could be made that I was demeaning to her. Well, yes, I was, and I meant to be, but I didn't do it in, I'm a big believer in the idea that it's all relative. So while you thought that you were so superior to Gina, for whatever reason, frankly, I'm not sure why, but whatever your reasonings were, and you did what you did, well, guess what? I feel the same way about me and you. I'm not like your friend Molly. I know she wants people, especially people that aren't very bright. She wants them all to think she's some rich bitch. So what if she is? I mean, I don't know what she is. I know how people who are truly wealthy behave, and it's not like that. And it doesn't matter. But see, it's a mindset with people like her, and I guess with you as well, because you seem to equate money with being a decent person. Those two things are completely mutually exclusive. One has nothing to do with the other. There have been some obscenely wealthy people that are really shit, horrible people. You ever heard of Robert Durst? Do you know who he is? He's dead now. He was a very rich man. He also killed a few people. He was a piece of shit. Waste of skin. There's been lots of very wealthy people who've done really horrible things. And the opposite is also true. There are also people who have nothing. And they're amazing people. So when I saw you, and it wasn't just a one-off, it's not like it was just one statement that was made. I thought, well, you know what? Two can play this game. I've never done that before. I have never told people what, well, I've definitely never cut a price tag off of my dress live on air and told people what it cost, because I'm here to admit it was tacky. And I'm kind of ashamed of myself that I did it, because unlike you, I fully understand and appreciate that this price tag that came off my dress this morning, that doesn't mean shit as far as what matters. It doesn't make me any better than you or anyone else. But I was trying to illustrate a point with you. Like, well, if this is your metric and this is how you want to play, Okay, well, 2 can play at that game, and I'll play better. I've never, kind of like I said in that video, if it was about me wanting to be like your fearless leader, well, I could do all that. But I don't rent rooms in my house. So I also would not dream of walking around my home with a camera and showing people what I have because of, crazies on the internet. Yeah. So I thought, well, you know what? I guess the easiest way to illustrate the point, because something tells me that just saying some words to you, I'm sure a lot of it was lost on her anyway. But some told me you would understand that loud and clear, and it really was. It was one of these things where I went to zip up the back of the dress, and the dress has these things that everybody hates, that you hang your damn, you put that thing through the hanger for things like halters and whatnot. And I was going to tuck it back down in there, and I felt that price tag, and I was like, oh shit. And I went to get the scissors, and I thought, no, I think I'm gonna leave the price tag up, and I think we're gonna have a little show and tell, and I'm gonna do to her what she attempted to do to Gina. And like I said, for at least the 3rd time, I don't know Gina, but something tells me that she's probably dealt with a lot of, I hope not hate and vitriol to the level that you displayed. I hope she hasn't dealt with that throughout her life. But something tells me that it's probably going to take more than you. I mean, my goodness, she's still standing after Molly Golightly, which that says something right there. But I just really, I hated it. And I'm fully acknowledging, I am fully acknowledging that I kind of got down on her level with a lot bigger words. But I promise you that it may not have been the classiest thing I've ever done in my life, but I really wanted to drive the point home that it's all relative, and you can call yourself a queen all you want. I think that's great that you think you're a queen. I guess every woman should think she's a queen, but they don't all. But let's just say we all have kingdoms in different neighborhoods, I guess. And I wanted you to, well, I was trying to make you feel small like you did her. I was trying to show you that, just because you can vomit forth some absolute, man, that was straight up hate. And there is no one who should stand behind any behavior like that. And I'm going to repeat again what I said. This is not about being a woman. It's not about being a man. It's not about being a trans woman. It's not about being a trans man. It's about being a human. And I feel sorry for you if you are that twisted up in your life that you could actually put that much dedication into being that hateful to someone I'm presuming you do not know. And I'm sorry, but I think that I think I made the point, and I think I made it very well. You know, probably not my finest moment, but I tell you what, if I have to take what I did in comparison to what you did, well, trust and believe, I sleep just fine at night. And something tells me you do too, which that should scare all of us. But yeah, listen, there's nobody that I would never do anybody's dirty work. And I damn sure wouldn't, like, there is a certain, let's just say that I think people, Molly, maybe, she has a classic mentality, it seems, of finding other people to do her dirty work. And listen, there's only certain types of people that you are going to be able to enlist in that kind of fight. And it's either going to be people who you're going to entice them with money. You're going to appeal to their ego. And here on YouTube, what I'm sure, oh, well, I'll make you famous. That bitch is not famous. Okay? She's not famous. I don't care if she did have 80,000 subs. Where are they now? And she's nobody to me. She's irrelevant in my life. I'm very glad I didn't know her like so many others do. But I don't have to know her to understand. I mean, you keep saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over, and it's only one of a few scenarios. Molly learned early on to play to her strengths, which were she can be entertaining, she can be self-deprecating, but she is also one of the most manipulative people I've had the misfortune of seeing on this platform. But she is not famous. She is not a celebrity. She is not invincible. And the fact that she's not here anymore proves all that. I don't have an axe to grind with the woman personally, but I see what she does to people. And I'm sorry, you are not a well-adjusted, happy, fulfilled person in your real life if you have to spend every waking moment finding out how can you push this one down, how can you step on this one's head, all in furtherance of your own agenda. I don't get it. I got a real life with a real family. I'm very blessed, and I know that. And I don't have to come on YouTube to try and get accolades from people I don't know that I'm never going to know. And then take it a step further and get people who I can manipulate, whether it's, mental manipulation or it's monetary manipulation, whatever the case may be. I don't have to do any of that. And that feels real good. And I can promise you, $90,000 or whatever she was making a year on here. I can't remember the number. Whatever it wasn't enough. I mean, they say everybody has a price. I can tell you my price is not on the clearance rack, and it's definitely not what her price was. So there is a certain freedom that comes with basically not giving a shit about this, okay? And that's just the bottom line. I would like, just like everybody, I'd like to see my channel grow. As far as I'm concerned, I'll never monetize. I shouldn't say never, but it would have to be a real good reason. I would have to this is the situation in which I would monetize. My channel blew up huge, which, let's face it, that's not going to happen. But if it did, that would be the only situation in which I would monetize. And I would give away at least 50%, if not more, of the money to causes close to my heart. And here's how you know if you've done anything right in your whole life. You get to the point, whatever age that might be, whether you're incredibly blessed and you learn this lesson early in life, whether you're just born with a really generous spirit, or, whatever the case may be. So whether you are 13 or 79, my almost age, if you can say that you truly have felt and know and understand that it truly is better to give than to receive. And I'm not saying that you have to feel like that about every single thing in your life. No. But if you have never felt just how good it feels to be able to give to someone else what to you is maybe it's insignificant. You're not going to miss it. But even more so when you will. And it doesn't always have to be money. It can be your time. It can be your talents, whatever it is. But people who know that is really what life is all about, well, they don't have to go around on the internet trying to figure out how they're going to be the head bitch in charge of everybody and everything, and whose throat do I have to cut, whose bidding do I have to do to get what I want? Because none of this is all meaningless, okay? And if you haven't figured that out, and when I say it's all meaningless, listen, I'm not talking about people who have tens of millions of subscribers and this is their full-time job and they're supporting a family and whatnot. But if you're just like most of us, like, yes, the now defunct Molly Golightly, because let me tell you something, yes, 90,000 subs or whatever she had when she got kicked. Yeah, they say kick is the new YouTube, but I don't know. It must not be, because my God, she seems to be clawing to get her way. Woo! Boy, she sure wants to come back here. Oh, never mind. No, she's taking it under advisement. She's pondering it really hard. Yeah, okay. Even at the size channel she had, when you think in terms of the big wide world of YouTube and not just this dumpster fire of drama that we're all rolling around in, 90,000 is nothing. It's as nothing as my little channel, okay? So it's all relative, but for most of us who just have either very small, non-existent almost, to decent sized channels, and it's all relative, baby, and keeping with the theme of this little, who did I hear say? Was it her? Somebody said something about a TED Talk, and I was like, bitch, TED Talk would send you a cease and desist if they heard that shit coming out of your mouth. What, TED Talk? Yo, I don't think so. And I don't know that it was her, but I heard, there was somebody I heard say something about a TED Talk, and I was like, and it was a rant. But yeah, so unless you're like PewDiePie or a channel of that size, you know, anybody that's just got a small to an average size channel, I mean, if this isn't how you're eating, well, it's real easy to keep this all in perspective. It just is. And there's lots of people I like on here, a lot. But are we ever going to meet in real life? Probably not. And, you know, unfortunately, when it comes down to it, it's every man for themselves usually. A wise woman told me one time about YouTube, and I'm not going to tell you who she is, but it's not anybody that is in the places we all usually meet up at. She told me a couple things. One thing she told me that, oh God, it's so true. She said, don't ever go out of your way to fly anybody's flag or take up for them unless you really like, you feel it here, like it, unless it's you really personally feel strongly about it. And I did with this, okay, as I have with other things. But she said, you can't, in this whole place is a game. And I absolutely know that. Some play chess, some play checkers, and some play tiddlywinks. She said, don't ever go hard for somebody if you're doing it just like you're, you know, jockeying for position, like you're trying to score points, brownie points with somebody. She said, don't ever do that, because it will always come back and bite you in the ass. Because everybody on here, they're going to love you one day, then they're going to hate your guts the second day, and then at some point you'll be back together again. And if you go hard at somebody on behalf of someone else, and it's not something you personally connect with, and you're just doing it to try and, you know, get the attention of someone else, you will always come out looking like the fool, because that person that you go against and the one you do it for, they may hate each other today, but I promise you they'll be back together. Oh, give it a couple months or whatever time frame it takes. It won't take long. It never does. And then you'll be the odd man out, and those two will be saying, oh my God, well, did you chat? So I have tried to heed this advice, and I will tell you that I find it makes me wonder sometimes, how do some of these dumbass people make it? I think they make it just in spite of themselves, because let me tell you something, I'm not dumb, and I'm not a chess player, but I have always said there is absolutely, this is all a team sport, while at the same time being an individual sport. Two polar opposites can exist at the same time. There's a lot of strategy involved in this, but you always need to make it look like you're not strategizing. But me speaking out and it wasn't even me speaking out for Gina, because Gina doesn't need me to speak for her. I was speaking against what the BQ woman did to Gina, because it was vile and it was disgusting. And it should not be acceptable to anyone. And there was one other thing that wise woman told me. She said, I think we'll save that for another day, because I want to think about it a little more. I need to tweak it a little, what she said. I need to put my own little bit of spin on it to not make it obvious who I'm talking about. All right, so let's see. We're at 2 hours. My sciatic nerve is starting to kick in. So, in closing, I'm going to say this. What the hell did I do with my fan? Good God. Where's my fan? Oh, here it is. It's starting to get hot in this office. Yes, Audacity, I agree. The lawsuits. The lawsuits that have yet to be served, and the cease and desist that nobody's received, as far as I know. But we all know word is all over the streets that Bull Scorn Betty is going to sue, supposedly, Queen Bee and Heels in the Air. Bitch, good luck with that. That's what I'm going to tell you, girl. Good luck with it. Y'all don't believe it, okay? In my opinion, here's what I do know. This is not opinion. Betty, I'm sure Betty thinks she has a case for defamation, slander, libel. One's spoken, one's written. Betty has no such case. Because there is no Bullhorn Betty, as Heels in the Air has repeatedly pointed out. She's absolutely correct. Betty Pickling, bitch. You want to be a private citizen, or you want to be a world famous YouTuber? If you want to be a world famous YouTuber, girl, then you're a public figure, and you know there's much more latitude given to what people can say about you. But here's what I do know, no matter how you want to look at her. What I do know is this. There is not a lawyer alive on the planet of Earth that will take Betty's case on what's called a contingency, meaning, a lot of personal injury cases are taken on contingency. I think a lot of civil rights cases, when there's a deep pocket, those are also taken on contingency. Betty, first of all, you can't afford to do this, okay? You're talking a lawsuit in 2 different states. So you got multiple jurisdictions over multiple parties. I don't know anything about social media lawsuits. This is an area of law that is evolving, and the law always takes a long time to catch up with changing of the times, changing of the tide. But I do know that lawyers do not take losing cases on contingency. So basically what Betty would need to do is she would need to pay an attorney in the state of Illinois, and she would need to pay an attorney in the state of Texas. I do not, listen, while I do have a legal education from a state school, a public state college, not a finance company who gives you a diploma for financing your education at the hallowed halls of their institution. Much like where Betty claims she went, I personally do not believe that Betty is college educated because she does not speak as an educated person. So I personally do not believe she's a college graduate of anywhere. But that's just me. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't believe it. You make up your own mind. But I do have a legal education, and I do know that I am not a lawyer, and I do not claim to know anything about who has jurisdiction when you're talking about one litigant residing, the petitioner residing in a different state than the respondent. So I'm not even going to give an opinion on that. But what I do know is lawyers do not take cases like this on contingency. Do you know how hard it is to prove defamation? It's very difficult. And there is this. Anybody want to tell me how the fuck do you damage the reputation of someone like Bullhorn Betty, who has got, I believe we're up to 44 entries in the criminal and civil dockets. She's got a well-documented criminal history as well as a civil history. Okay? So how do you damage that reputation? I'm wondering. And hi, independent thinker. As such, hey, Steph B, how you doing? Kia, how are you? This, in my opinion, if I had to take a guess as to what this was about, first and foremost, I think it is about, listen, in my opinion, Betty is a bully, okay? Betty, much like someone else we were talking about earlier, Betty very much believes in the strong arm tactics, much like Crude AF. Betty wants to, forgive the expression, Betty wants to beat you into submission. Yes, or sue you into capitulation. That's how Betty works. She very much wants to exert her will over everyone around her. And I can tell you that the reason Crude AF paid her a piddly $500 was because, according to many, many sources, him being one of them, she was reaching out to his family who had businesses, who had nothing to do with any of this. But, you know, in my opinion, Betty's not exactly an ethical person. So she will do by any means necessary. Gee, I wonder why she, you know, it's funny when you think about the people she aligns with. Birds of a feather, perhaps. But please, I don't want anyone to think that I don't speak for Crude AF by any stretch of the imagination. I don't even know the man. He was gone before I had a channel, but I did watch. And like I said, I do know. How does Betty put it? I know about the law. I am legally educated. Except I really am. I really do. But unlike Betty, I don't pretend to be a lawyer. I promise you, Crude AF did not settle that case with Betty because she had an ironclad case that he was going to lose. No. Everyone, no matter what it is, has to look at, let's just say, the cost to benefit analysis. And if I were in his shoes and this nasty, crazy bitch from the internet who got her feelings hurt because I was pointing out the obvious, in my opinion, also with a very lengthy criminal history to, well, bolster my thinking a bit. If it was me and said crazy bitch started to, malign my family member's business, was seemingly taking steps to perhaps attempt to impact the way my family members earn a living, well, what would you do? Are you going to tell your family, oh, listen, don't worry about it. The bitch isn't really going to do anything. Yeah, I know. Well, I know what she said, but, she's really a nice woman. No, any of us who are wrapped tight and care about our families, no, all you're going to need is the slightest idea that your family could have a problem, however small it might be, because of some stupid bitch on the internet. Of course you're going to say, this is not this important to me. My family comes first. What do you want, you wretched, ugly ass bitch? And yeah, that is my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. Yes, you're as ugly on the inside as you are on the outside. Yeah, so what did he do? Signed on the dotted line and got it out of his life and kept it moving. Betty, you will not always come up against that situation, pumpkin. Just saying. And I really think that you, my dear, if you proceed with this folly, which I don't think she actually will, but just in case, I very proudly, I don't know if I'm the first one at all, but I was the first one on the live stream today to send a donation to a potential legal defense fund. And Queen Bee, girl, listen, that is a gift from me to you. If that bitch does not follow through with her little lawsuit, girl, go buy your kids something or buy yourself a pair of shoes or a carton of smokes. I don't care what you do with it. It's a gift from me to you. Enjoy. Thank you for the countless hours of entertainment. And Betty, oh, I promise you, there's so many more of me that are going to do and say the same thing. And who will line up to help her and Heels fund a real crowd-funded legal defense should the need present? I don't think it will. I think personally, this is nothing more than two things. I think first and foremost, Betty is tired of being drugged by her broken ass hair all up and down the YouTube streets. I think it's getting old. And of course, now, why would you think Betty would look inward and say, well, damn, maybe I could tone down X, Y, or Z. No, fuck them. It's all them. I'm going to sue you. Oh, God, of course. But yeah, I think Betty's getting tired of it. And I think that I think she's trying to prove a point. I think Betty knows there is not a, Betty, do you know what you and the proverbial snowball have in common? Well, neither one of you have a chance in hell of prevailing in any kind of stupid defamation lawsuit, okay? And girl, you can't afford it. And your subs, they can't afford it either. It's one thing buying you your damn top ramen and your clearance steak, and well, God knows they don't spend money on wardrobe. Paying for the gas in your car, buying you a roof, all that. Oh no, wait, wasn't that the taxpayers? Yeah, I don't know. Well, listen, girl, you know what they'll pay for and what they won't. But a multi-jurisdiction lawsuit. Well, girl, that's a bridge too far, honey. That's that's a lot of MacBook Pros. Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. So my thought is Betty probably, if she actually did file it, I've heard something about $316 to file. If she actually did file it, I think in Betty's mind, well, hell, it's not her money, it's her sub's money. And she's probably thinking, well, money well spent. If I could spend $632 to send a message to all those other naughty YouTubers out there that talk about me, that are so mean to me, well, it's money well spent. Well, Betty, isn't it always money well spent when it's somebody else's money? I mean, damn. That's why I usually try and look at it like, if there's something I want that I can't afford, because I buy my own shit. I'm not that girl who goes to my husband and says, honey, can I have XYZ? No, I buy it. And if I can't afford it, then I go to him. But I always think, my husband's money is, well, the old expression, what's mine is mine and what's his is mine. And what's ours is ours. I'm kidding about that. But I really do. I think it's more of a message more than anything, and not to Queen in heels in the air. I think it's, it's the bully pulpit, and I think it's meant to, hey, Sofa King Tight, how you doing? I think it is. I think it's meant as kind of a, you better watch and be warned. Don't fuck with Betty. Yeah, Betty with the good hair. That's Laura. A Betty by any other name is a perplexed QT with better hair. So that's reason number one, in my opinion, is, strong arm tactic. And possibly even more true, at least in my mind. Well, my goodness. Kind of like I just said about the money that I donated to Queen Bee today, that I said legal defense fund. I don't care what she spends it on, but don't you think Betty might be banking on some similar type of financial goodwill from the subs? Like, oh, Betty, I don't know why everybody's so mean to you. And, oh, yes, Betty, we buy everything else for you. Let us take care of this too. Y'all can't. No, come on. Y'all are going to have to step that donation game up. And Betty, girl, just remember that old adage, another one I love. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Yes, you might. Open up a can of worms and, I don't know, it might turn into a can of whoop ass. You never know. I mean, think. Discovery would come into play. And I mean, if it was me and I was a respondent, well, I would just, I would drag the process out as long as I possibly could. Yes, that's what I would do. And then you have to remember all that pesky disclosure, discovery disclosures. Oh, all your financial disclosures. My goodness, I certainly hope you have paid Uncle Sam all of the appropriate, taxes that are owed and due. Yes. So there is that. Oh, yes. And then no good deed goes unpunished. That's another one that could turn into, that could go bad too. Yeah, Betty, girl, Betty seems to be a very impulsive woman who, just shoots off at the mouth. And I mean, God knows Betty has never met a circuit or civil court clerk that she didn't want to, bend her ear off about what a victim she is. It was all a misunderstanding. They're so mean. Oh God, can you hear it now? Much like she's never met a lectern or a podium that she doesn't want to just get her 3 minutes of fame. Oh God, Betty, I can think of so many better uses of your time than, maybe all your civic philanthropy work. Well, kids, we're going on 2.5 hours. And, oh yes, am I nervous? Oh. Yes, it's fully kicked in at this point. Oh God. I'm sorry. I hate how this always happens at this part of the program. Oh, there's that damn pesky hanger loop. I usually cut those things out of my clothes immediately. I hate them. But because this is like it doesn't have a collar, I left them in. But, oh God. All right, kids. I'll never get used to the left is the right is the left. All right, everybody. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend and that you get out and do something fun. What do they say? Touch grass. Yes, go touch grass, or even a piece of paper, or go touch a tree, because Betty's probably getting ready to kill acres of trees. Oh, girl, are you going to do like a wish list for all the printer ink you're going to need? Are you going to need like binder backups? Girl, do you need like a Staples gift card? Well, I mean, I'm not going to buy it, but you never know. Somebody might. All right, everybody. Thank you all for joining me. Hope everybody has a good weekend. And let's see, I definitely will not be around tomorrow. I've got some family stuff going on. Good night, Emmy. No, Emmy, I did not. The guy in England and the tree. Oh, God. Am I going to be sorry if I look that up? I will. When I leave here, I'll look it up. Yes, Bob, I'm coming. My little dog is at the door. He's like, Mom, come on, I gotta go to the bathroom. Okay, so I might not be back until possibly Monday, but if not Monday, it won't be until Wednesday because I've got a lot of stuff going on. So, all right, everybody, have a fantastic evening. Bye.